Hello, grade 12. So, we're starting new work today. If you have time and after we finished this video and you've gone through everything and you want to complete that object-oriented program, the last one about stars that we did on Friday, then you may do so if you've finished and understood everything over here. And you can also maybe tackle the the problem that we had here in the mathematics equation, which was a special activity for a challenge. Okay, this activity, where is it? Yeah, the challenge, the maths challenge for the quadratic equation. So that is a good challenge to do as well. But remember that anything that you don't finish in class, you have to do for homework. Alright, so we're not going to stop. You have to catch up with stuff at home, and you can watch the videos on the YouTube channel anytime to recap. Now, we're talking about 2D arrays now. We're going to start talking about two-dimensional arrays, and that's exactly what it is. It's 2 dimensions, x and y coordinate. It's like a table structure. Instead of a single one-dimensional array that we're used to having over here, they show you the here's a normal array, okay, with boxes and numbers. We know about those, we know how to declare them and everything. But 2D arrays have 2 dimensions, so we normally will have 2 integers, and they're numbered in certain ways. Now, to compare a 2D array with a string grid, that is the thing. On the right hand side is an array, on the left hand side is that string grid that we saw the other day. And I put addresses for the string grid. Okay, the string grid had column 2, row 2. This was column 3, row 1. That is column 4. Column 4, row 0. So I had that wrong there. No, it's the other way around. It's 1 column first, and then the row for the string grid. The column first, and then the row for the string grid. The column first, and then the row for the string grid. Column 2, row 4. Column 0, row 4. Column 1, row 3. Column 2, row 2. And over here, for the same boxes in the same area, if this was an array that we wanted to put in the string grid, so that will be row 3, column 3. This will be row 4, column 2. This would be row 5, column 1, and this one will be row 5, column 3. Now that's the difference between an array and a string grid. In a string grid, you reference the columns first, but in an array, you have a reference to the row first. And there's a very important point for you to remember. The other thing to remember is that the string grid will always be numbered with integers and start at 0. Okay, always. String grids are only for display. It's a component that sits on the form for display. An array is a variable in memory, and with the array we can number these things anything. I can start at the number 40, and then the next box will be 41, and the next box will be 42. And for the column, I could start at 10, and then we'll have the next column being 11, and 12, 13, 14. And then in this case, these numbers would change. This would be row 12, column 42. And this one would be row 14, and column 42. And this one would be row 13 and column 41. And this would be row 14 and column number 40. And if we numbered that A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, A, B, and C, if we started numbering that from A, B, C, and this is capital A, capital B, capital C, D, capital E, we can do anything that we want here with arrays. So that would be row C, column small c. This will be row, column row capital D, column small b, and this one would be row capital E, column small a, and this would be row capital E and column C. So that's the difference between a string grid and array. And the challenge comes when you want to display an array into a string grid, as you can imagine, because we numbered our arrays, rows and columns differently to the string grid, okay, firstly. And secondly, when you refer to an item in an array, a 2D array, you refer to the row first and then the column. But if you want to refer to a string grid, you refer to the column first and then the row. So those are the two major differences between string grids and arrays, and I will put this in the folder for today's lesson so that you can look at this and see the difference for yourself again if you get lost or confused. Right, so now we're going to go to our chapter, and we're on page 83, and we're looking at the 2D array. And as I said before, we actually when we want to access an item in an array, we use the square brackets after the word, the array name, and then we put the row in and then the column. The row is going to be first and then the column, and these are just basically the numbers. So this will be column 1, 2 and 3, and this is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are just the items that are inside the array, okay? So, declaring a 2D array, how do we declare it? Okay, so we will use syntax saying the name of that we want to give it, colon array, and then you put the rows first, 1, 2, whatever, and then the column first, second, 1, 2, whatever, of type, the data type. So here's an example. An array name, then the word array 1 to 5, so that's 5 rows, 1 to 3, that means 3 columns of the type integer. Right, so here in pen and paper we're going to use pen and paper and declare arrays. So your job here, we're going to declare arrays. Now I'm going to try and do that with my sign tool, and I'll do it on this page. So you can use the sign tool to type anything that you want on the page itself, and you can save it too. So let's declare an array with 10 rows and 10 columns of integers. So arr_num colon array square brackets 1.10 comma 1.10, close the square brackets, of integer. So there's that array declared. Okay, now I'm going to do the next one. 5 rows and 4 columns of strings. Okay, so arr_lines, I'm just giving it any name, colon array square brackets 1 to 5 for the row, and then comma 1.4, then close brackets, and then of string, semicolon. Now let's say we want to declare an array of 500 rows and 3 columns of real numbers. So we're going to click over there, and I'll say arr_num colon array square brackets 1.500, that's for the rows, then a comma, and then 1.3, that's for the columns, of real. Okay, now we're going to do the next one, 250 rows and 400 columns of strings. Okay, arr_lines colon array open square brackets 1.250 comma 1.400 of string, semicolon. That's how you declare an array, 2D array. Now, array for the weeks and days in the month of May. To model the weeks and days. Gosh. So, week, okay, we know that 1 to 7 months of May. Okay, now how should we think about that one? The month of May, week 1, week 2, week 3, days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, maybe like a calendar, I suppose, eh? So let's say 1 to 4 and 1 to 31. So it doesn't really matter how far we go with that. So I'm going to go there. Oh, I'm going to cheat and go look at the memo. All right, let's go look at the memo, guys. Two-dimensional arrays memo. Here it is. A month, 1 to 5. So is there 5? Oh, I see. They're doing it like that. Right, that was a bit of a trick question, don't you think? 5 7s are 35. So, yeah, 7 days in a week. So, okay, 1 to 7 for the number of days in a week. Okay, fine, I get it. So we have ARR May colon array. We can decide whether you want the week, the number of weeks to be the rows or the columns. Well, they made the number of weeks to be the columns, but I'm going to make it the rows. 1 to 7, and then 1 to 5 were basically of, I don't know whether it's going to be string or not, because yeah, check out the memo. Integer. Yeah, anyway, it was a bit of a trick question. I didn't like that one, but never mind. You get the idea of how you declare arrays. Now let's go move on. Accessing elements in an array. So the way you do that is to say, well, assign 9 to our value. Use a number array above to reference. Use a number. A number is an array to reference the numbers given in examples below. Let's assign 9 to I value. Assign 9 to I value. Above a number. Where's a number array? A numbers, there it is, 1. Okay. Well, you're basically just putting it in box number, row number 3, column number 2. You're just putting 9 into that. You're just saying I value equals that. Okay. So, oh yes, here it is. Yeah, A numbers. Yeah. Right. So, R value equals 9. So R value is going to be equal to array numbers box number 3. Box number for row 3 and column number 2. And then display number 27. And number 27 is this one over here. It's AR numbers, row 3, column 3. So there it is, interstring AR numbers, row 3, column 3. Determine the square root of 64. So we're going to find where's 64 in the array. There it is, the square root of AR numbers, row 4, column 3. Square root of A numbers, row 4, column 3. Increase the cost by 5%. Cost? What is the 5? Which one? Cost is what? I mean, row 5, column 1. Is that the cost? Well, anyway, maybe it is. But what they're showing you is that you can take the array box with row 5, column 1 and use it. It's an integer. It's a number. You can multiply it by something. So it's just showing you how to work with 2D array contents. And then assigning values to each box. And we'll show you over here. If I want to have, okay, let's move these back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is 1, 2, and 3, and I call this ARR numbers, or what, ARR stuff, whatever it is. And if I want to put values in any one of these boxes, for instance, let's assign a value, a number to this box here, and then I will say, and let me just change the font inside here to a smaller font so we can see what we're doing. So if I want to go and put a number in there, so I'll say ARR stuff, box number row 2 column 3 is equal to, let's say it's 67, and that is what I will do. And I'm going to wrap the text here so we can see it, or I'll just make it larger, won't I? There we go. So that is what we're doing. You're just basically saying the array with the coordinates in it equal to something, and that is how you put things into an array box. And remember, you use the array name and then the square brackets, the row, and then the column. Okay, so tomorrow we'll carry on with this, and you can catch up, and I'll see you tomorrow.